I think cherries should drop from cherry blossoms the same way apples drop from oak trees. This is a really good idea until you realize that a cherry blossom tree looks nothing like a cherry fruit tree. They are two distinct trees, they are not the same, and as this meme puts it, we know getting no cherries. However, that seems pretty invalid when you realize that oaks also don't produce apples, so I think cherries would probably fit even better. I mean, it is just a video game. Oh wait, it's not just a game. Frogs can't eat fireflies, so cherry blossoms can't have cherries. And ultimately, this is what every debate around an unrealistic Minecraft feature comes to. When you look at early game Minecraft, the first few years of the development, it's really made up of a lot of features that don't need to make sense and don't need to promote anything good towards animals, riding pigs off cliffs or having apples drop from oak trees. I mean, there's lots of ridiculous things, but modern day Minecraft is very set on making sure you learn valuable lessons about the world. They have geologically accurate minerals and names, and so they can't add cherry blossoms to cherry trees, except according to Crab Leah, there's a cherry bush in their backyard that blooms every spring with those pink petals, but also grows delicious cherries. So don't worry, you can still teach people about realism Mojang while still having a delightful cherry fruit. I think the more important discussion than whether we could have cherries in theory is what value would cherries fill? I mean, even apples are kind of barely eaten unless you want golden apples, and so if you want to see cherries, you really need to ask for golden cherries or some brewing ingredient that uses cherries or something unique about them, because otherwise it'll be like the pumpkin pies that basically nobody uses, and why does it even exist in the first place? Something that Mojang ideally tries to avoid. There's actually a big debate about a lot of things in the community, like this one from XXVoidGamer who says the new potion changes look ugly without the enchanting glint. Why does Mojang always make changes that nobody asked for? And honestly, nobody was asking for the potion change, I don't think. It wasn't a very popular idea, but Mojang as developers shouldn't just be looking at what people request to make changes to the game. It's actually a good thing they proactively did something like this, because why is it that enchantment glimmer applied to enchanted things, like most people probably assumed it should be, but then also to potions? If you look at the previous night vision potion and the current one, I don't understand how people said the old one looked any better unless you want your potions to look enchanted, because you're otherwise getting them confused with your non-enchanted stuff. There are a lot of people who do think the potion glimmer should come back, and so I imagine they actually might add it back in a much more minor way, but otherwise this seems like hating a change just because it's not what you're currently used to. And it's funny because this comment suggests that Mojang is just adding things the community doesn't listen to, while Dolphin Go Re-account says the exact opposite. The new brush recipe is no surprise because literally the entire community was asking them to use this as the recipe. And again, an important reminder for all the things we've discussed so far, Mojang doesn't just look to the community for feedback. Honestly, if the community were the ones deciding on a Minecraft update, we would have terrible updates all of the time. I mean, all you need to do is look at the few cases we do have of Minecraft democracy to realize why we probably shouldn't have more. I'm still looking at you, Glow Squid. What value do you add to the game? But ultimately, if the community voted on updates, we might get some user-requested features earlier. We might be able to not have, the EULA changes or the changes to chat reporting and all these weird things that people want and that can't otherwise be done while there's a corporate structure in place. But would the game be better overall, or do you think having some people whose job it is to think about how to make Minecraft better, who aren't just reactionarily saying this sounds cool, I think that might be a better idea? And ultimately, the fact that there's a debate about how Minecraft should be doing their stuff is really interesting to me, but it's also really interesting to see people not agreeing on what the name should be. I heard a couple of really good ones, the Exploration and Expression update, or maybe Explore and Lore, but I really prefer Lore and More. The Lore and More update is such a fun name for an update. However, even the name for it we can't agree on, because the Extrunner makes the point that I've seen so many times this week that this update does have a name already. It's the Caves and Cliffs update part 4. And you know what? This is a criticism that's going to be thrown at every update Mojang does, unless they do one crucial thing, because this is the update that adds every last feature they promised from Caves and Cliffs in 2020 now. My god, was that a long time ago? It adds every single one of those features, finally, with one key exception being the bundle. The bundle is the last remaining 1.17 announced feature, which has not been in a Minecraft update yet. You can technically get it in the preview, and it might be coming to the finished release. I would really love it if they did, because then we could finally move on to talking about the Birch Forest again. I mean, we could finally move on to talking about actual fresh Minecraft stuff rather than rehashing the same joke. Maybe that's too much for me to ask, but maybe instead you should be asking questions like this one. I hate the it feels like a mod argument. It's just new stuff, like how backpacks would be too modded. I genuinely feel like they should just stop fighting it and add the backpacks. I think there is a difference between too modded in terms of a mob and too modded in terms of a brand new gameplay mechanic. I still remember today, in fact, there's a video of me playing Minecraft 1.8 for the first time. It felt so weird to have a hunger bar. It felt so weird that I didn't just have to eat when I needed to heal, I had to eat all of the time. That felt ridiculous. Or the sprinting mechanic, I mean, your screen's just going forwards and the field of view's expanding. Sprinting in Minecraft doesn't look like sprinting when you first do it. It takes a real long time to get used to that. Or even drawing back the bow. There's a lot of mechanics from that update. The end is the biggest one, which don't, they felt like mods, you might argue, and they felt so different, but you eventually get used to them. But I think as time goes on, features like that are harder to add. When they do add a fourth dimension, I'm going to say when, not if, that fourth dimension will feel so weird for a really long time because we've been used to this tri-dimension dichotomy forever, and so when they finally change it, it'll be strange. Adding backpacks to the game might eventually feel normal, but if it's something you interact with on every single playthrough because it's just that darn useful, then it would cause some real problems. This is the biggest issue of having stuff be so OP. This is the biggest issue of everyone wanting Netherite gear. Now a key part of the progression is you've got to go to the Nether and do this weird ancient debris thing, and it feels more modded because you basically have to do it in some people's minds, which is an interesting way to look at things. But you know what else is interesting? Nico Eco's comment on YouTube Premium. I mentioned this week in the podcast where that same comment about modded came from, that when YouTube Premium, I mentioned YouTube Premium being better for creators, and that's true, but they say when YouTube Premium came out, I was like, why should I pay for YouTube? Ads aren't bad, and I can download videos via a downloader anyways. Then they decided to stop downloading music and stream it compared to other music apps because they didn't like Spotify or Amazon Music, and so they got YouTube Music, the best of both worlds, with the bonus of no ads and easier video downloads. And honestly, that's exactly how I would sell YouTube. It does seem expensive when you look at YouTube and say, $11.99, I could get Netflix for the same price. But I genuinely do have my own YouTube Premium subscription. I'd have one regardless of whether it was good for creators or not, because not only do you get this free, ad-free YouTube viewing experience, the amount of time you must save over a while, and if you think about how much YouTube you watch, for me at least, it's my #1 media platform, so not having ads for that is an amazing feature by itself. But then also I get to listen to music when I want to without having to download it or have a separate subscription. You might think that, oh, you already have Spotify, but like, no, you're paying for a subscription for Spotify and then also watching YouTube ads, when for basically the same price, you could not watch YouTube ads, support creators in a much better way, and then also have music. And then also, on top of all of those things, you get the fun little benefits of downloading videos and watching with your screen turned off. There's so many features that make it worthwhile in my opinion, and I know it sounds like a sales pitch because I just said it's good for creators. As a creator, of course, I'd benefit if you got YouTube Premium, but I benefit by like $0.01 per person. If I just encourage one person to buy one of these, we will all die someday mugs, then I have made the equivalent of converting hundreds of you to YouTube Premium, and that's not going to happen, but I do want it to be known that YouTube Premium is a good deal, and if more people had it, then we'd have to deal with advertiser friendliness less on YouTube, because we wouldn't be dealing with advertisers, we'd be dealing with YouTube Premium and people's subscriptions directly, like every other platform has to do. Speaking of every other platform, The Only Gaming is really annoyed when people use things for disabled people that aren't meant for them without clarifying that it's for disabled people. And this is a really good point. We really should be gatekeeping more things. We should say only disabled people can use disabled specific things. Those curb cuts that are now ubiquitous and help everyone from families to just people who are trying to skip stuff, or e-scooters or bikes. Those things, because they are a disability feature, we should say only disabled people are allowed to use them. That would make the world a much better place. High contrast option in games, which are really handy for people who just have issues seeing certain colors, we should say that you have to have a legal prescription from your doctor confirming you are disabled. Or maybe, closed captions. What are you doing watching Netflix with subtitles? Don't you know that's for deaf people? Yeah, I think what is much better for the world is when disabled friendly features are specifically just for disability people, and then fewer developers will include them, and that's much better for everyone as a whole. Universal design, where we know that we can help out non-disabled people as well as disabled people, literally sickens me. What are we doing there? We're helping out everyone and then also including the specifically marginalized group. Oh, that disgusts me. I prefer much less frequent things that are specifically just for me in my in-group. That is what I want all the time. Speaking of things I want all the time, Brandon Plays 702 says, I didn't know you could use a flower on a brown mushroom. I rarely learn about new features in Minecraft, so I'm always surprised when I do, and I wanted to highlight this comment because, yeah, you might not have known they added a brand new suspicious stew this week, and it's interesting because whenever I talk about certain features in Minecraft and try to, like bring them up to people, like, oh, you might not have known about this, a lot of people get really defensive and go, I did know that already, Toycat. If you're going to say people don't know about this, you've got to say something I don't specifically know about. But then I get a ton of comments from people like this, and, for instance, you might not have known that if you bone meal on sand underneath some water, you'll grow some coral. That's a really useful feature, and so I made like big lists of videos of things you might not have known about Minecraft, and those videos always do well because lots of people, the majority of Minecraft players, don't know about all the minutiae of the game and actually benefit from watching things they did not know, from learning about the weird secrets of the game, and that's why I continue to make those videos, even though I get those snobbish comments. And so if you are one of those people, very sorry to you, but I think it's important to educate the most people. And speaking of educating people, Maogwai educates us by letting us know that Bedrock is for children, man-children, and casuals. Java is for, oh, they made a typo here, people who can handle inadequately sized salmon, because that's what the rest of their life looks like. Anyway, with that said, the next comment here comes in from Aibgiller Dragon Rider, who says, I don't care about the name, I just want the update to come out so I can get back into Minecraft and explore my world. There are so many people who are taking this attitude towards the next 1.20 update, like, yeah, what's the even point in exploring now? But let me give you a pro tip. There's only one brand new biome, so obviously that might be worth waiting for to you, but you can probably find that in an existing world. But if you want to go and explore now, you can find all of the structures, and because of a recent Minecraft update, the chests that generate now won't generate the loot until you open them, so just don't ever look inside your desert temple chests or your jungle temple chests, and they should be able to include the brand new loot. Speaking of including brand new loot, this last week I did something I've never done in my life before, and as Angel puts it here in their $10 tip, will you tell us which type of ice cream cake you get? I did in fact go out to look for some ice cream cake recently. This is how it went.
Okay, I'm at the Dairy Queen. It is conveniently located right next to the India-British market, which I kind of want to go to instead, but I'm going to stay focused because they have these blizzard cakes here that are made from ice cream. Again, maybe I should have had an ice cream cake at some point in my life, but now is going to be my opportunity. Right, do you see him right there, behind the door? I'm excited.
I'd recommend Oreo if you've never had them, if you like Oreos. This one's made of M&M's. This one's made of cookie dough.
Serves 8 to 10 round serve. So these blizzard cakes serve 8 to 10. But they are half off the Valentine's Day, so really it's a good deal if you think about it. I can't decide between these two. I'll go with the M&M's. Maybe I have to put down the phone first. Yep, this is definitely a reasonable amount of cake to walk out of the store with. A bag so big, it barely fits. But that's fine. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna get in my very adorable little car and drive home. Okay, I'm home, and here is my ice cream cake. Got a nice close-up angle for you here. I honestly don't even know how you're meant to begin with this. I guess you're meant to like cut it up, make a slice. I mean 8 to 10 slices according to them. But I'm the only person who can eat ice cream cake where I live right now. So let's just dig in, I guess. This feels incorrect, but I guess that's what we're gonna do. Oh, it's thick. Of course, it's not just... I don't know, I assumed it'd have the consistency of cake, but I guess I really am gonna have to shovel my way in here. I'll take the bottom of the heart off. Yeah, okay, a plastic knife is not enough for this cake. This is a strong boy. The man in the store was super nice. I actually walked through what a Dairy Queen cake was with me, and I totally blanked on most of it, but there's a lot of layers to this thing. So there is ice cream, there's some form of like chocolate core inside, and then there's these M&Ms on the top. So I guess we'll start. So the top, real good. It's basic ice cream, but it's ice cream, and there's little pieces of M&Ms in there. Honestly, reminds me of a McFlurry, as weird as that is to say. It's like very much the same ice cream with the same sort of topping blend. Then we go a layer deeper, and it's just solid ice cream. Again though, it's not. This isn't ice cream you get at a store. I can't describe why it's not ice cream you get at a store. It's that same kind of... Goodbye, camera. It's that... I guess we'll do this vlog style. It's the same sort of weird blend you get at a... I guess it's whipped in some way. And then there's this middle chunk here that I need to try. So I'll put this down for a second. I'm gonna have to one-hand this whole thing now. And let's just dig right in there. And let's see if we can get this chunk going. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm guessing this is going to be like hard. Oh, it's an M&M core. Oh, it's like the core is the thing on the outside. Oh, that's good. It's M&Ms are the worst. Actually, no, that's a brownie, I think. There's a brownie in the middle of my ice cream cake. This is delicious. You know, apparently this is the stereotypical thing you have at your like seven-year-old birthday party. I've been missing out. I did not have the right 7-year-old friends. Or maybe the UK just doesn't have the right 7-year-olds. Or maybe we just don't have the right cakes, but this is great. If it's a hot summer's day outside, I don't want a regular cake. I want a Dairy Queen ice cream cake. Remember, use code TOYCAT to get 10% off at checkout. Thank you very much to Dairy Queen for sponsoring this portion of the video. But to move back into the rest of it.
So that was recorded on Tuesday, and now here on Friday, I've eaten this much of the cake. I don't think you can see that very well, but it's all gone besides the very, very top of the heart here. And yeah, I'm leaving today as I record this. And so I have to make a good dent at the rest of this. I'm gonna let it turn into like milky mush, like a milkshake, and I'm gonna drink it all. That is my plan. But I've been missing out on ice cream cake my entire life. Why did no one let me know? Why did no one tell me sooner that I need to have this? It's great. I love ice cream, I love cake. I love the combination of the two, and I will never forgive you for not letting me know about it. But just kidding, I hope you'll enjoy this video. Thank you very much for those who support this channel and allow me to just go out and spend $16 on a cake in the middle of the day. It really is one of the perks of the job, and it's something I really value you in supporting this channel, perhaps with a subscription, perhaps with the notifications turned on. But thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you when I'm back in the UK. Goodbye.